It's time for the business of life with Coach Ron Tunick and Jim Piccirillo.
I don't know. We need to. I like the intro. Who does that? Is it you do that,
Dr.
Cody?
John. That's Dr. John.
No, we need to pep it up though. It's the Coach Ron Tunick and Jim Piccirillo.
Oh, you're talking about the voiceover.
Yeah, we need something like that. It's the Coach and Jimmy Piccirillo. And incidentally, you got a fan club, buddy. Big shout out to you, ladies.
Wow.
Thank you for taking care of me and making me feel special. Victoria and Carla at K Van Far, Dr. K Van Far, James K Van Far. We have a fan club.
Wow.
So
Greetings,
Victoria
ladies.
and Carla, if you want to call in, we'll put you on the air, 298-5487, 298-5487. We will waive the $1,000 call-in fee, won't we,
The
for
talk
them?
fee just for today. Absolutely. For our fans. Just for our fans only.
Yeah, and Brian Mackey, I know you listen with your big fan club. We'll waive the call-in fee for you, too, if you want to call in. 298-5487. Big shout-out to WKRP in Cincinnati. I'm sure they're still listening to our show, Lonnie Anderson, right?
Yeah, and Howard Hessman. Howard Hessman was the DJ. Lonnie Anderson was the receptionist. I love that show.
And
This place reminds me of there. I always tell these guys. It's like walking into WKRP.
you know, we're on all over America on hometownstation.com. Hometownstation.com. I need a new intro. Cody, if you're
Are you
going
on
to do
something today? Are you okay?
we had tamales for lunch.
Wow. I know. My head's still burning. My nose is running. My head's burning.
What's the name of that tamale place, Cody?
Jasmine's?
Oh,
Jasmine's.
Jasmine's
Bakery.
Oh, my God.
Love that place.
So I bought a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Am I too loud for you? Is that what's going on?
I don't know. I'm having trouble.
I just want a new.
I don't hear my mic. Am I on the air?
Yeah, you're on the air. You're absolutely
I don't
on
hear
the
myself.
air. Can you fix it up, Cody, so he can hear himself?
don't hear
But we need
myself.
a better introduction. Cody, can you work on that today? Well, all three of us can
yeah,
work.
you got it.
What if we did a? What do you call it?
Like a
'Cause you're-
harmony?
Yeah. What if the three
Let's
of
get
us?
Samuel L. Jackson to record our intro. How about that?
Does he really do that song on that commercial? 'Cause I don't have a Capital One card, but
That's bad, but whatever he does,
is
Good
that,
thing he's an actor,
Is that him
not a
singing?
singer.
That's not him singing.
No, that is him. He's bad.
You don't think that's good?
I don't know.
I would get a Capital One card just for him.
What are we doing today?
Let's talk about, so Victoria and Carla, thank you so much again. The entire show, the whole hour is dedicated to you two ladies for making
An hour
me
of
feel
love,
like
an
a
hour of
human
love
being.
and information.
You know, when you go to a doctor, it's not the most pleasant thing in the world. And this is a hip doctor.
Yeah.
And they make you wait. And I didn't have to wait that long. And they're
Careful, they're going to tune out.
No, they're great ladies. Let's do this horoscope. Let's have a new feature before what's bugging me.
You just keep changing the format on us. Oh, my God. Okay.
Everybody loves horoscopes.
New feature, horoscope. Okay.
No, new feature. Okay, I'll read mine. I'm a Pisces. And incidentally, ladies out there, if you're not married and you're looking to marry a man, marry a Pisces.
Wow.
Because we're warm, sensitive, gentle men. So here,
And so modest, too.
Pisces, here we go. Getting overwhelmed is easy. All you have to do is focus on everything at once. Give more focus to the things that are going wrong, and bam, instant panic. Instead, focus on one thing at a time.
Wow. Good advice.
And I have a little
Take
HD.
a breath. Take a breath. Just, one thing at a time.
What do I have? HD? What is that called?
You got all of those. ADHD, DHHD.
I got everything.
You're
Okay,
scattered, man.
You're a Cancer. Let's see what you got going. For Cancers here
Smooth,
on the
I'm
Business
sensitive.
Life every Monday, every Tuesday,
I feel like we're in a bad bar. Come on.
every Tuesday at 1.
Hey, good looking.
Cancer. It's the people who have a good attitude when fighting in the trenches whom you really want on your side.
Good advice, as always.
Yeah.
Definitely want
Now,
somebody
Cody,
you
what's
can
your
trust and rely on.
birthday, young man?
July 8th, so coincidentally, I would also be a Cancer.
So I just read yours.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And what month is this? This is September already? What sign is September? Does anybody know? Anybody know what September sign is?
I have no idea. I'm pretty
Sorry.
bad with that. I
Yeah.
know Cancer.
Guys don't seem to get into that stuff.
Let's move on, Coach. What's bugging you
I'm
this
going to
week?
tell you
what's
what's
bugging you, man?
I'm going to tell you exactly. So I pick up the LA Times because I like to read, and I'm old-fashioned, and I like to hold the paper. So on the business section, bomb shelter businesses booming, and there are people out there. So let me just read from one of the companies. It says this is one of the companies that's selling bomb shelters. Incidentally, they sell them between
Who's
35,000.
selling them? The Trump organization? I mean, who's behind this?
Just calm down.
Are they scaring us and now getting us to buy bomb shelters?
Calm
Is
down,
that what it
Lefty.
is?
Calm down. We don't do politics, Mr.
I
Lefty.
didn't say politics.
Can I read this, please?
Go ahead.
Okay. People are sensing that a global life-changing event is just ahead. Millions of people believe that we're living in the end times. The governments of the world know something and have been bunkering up for decades. Why is nobody telling us to prepare? This is what the company says. So this is marketing stuff.
Yeah.
They're trying to scare the crap out
That
of us.
doesn't sound like a news story to me. That sounds like a marketing story.
No,
I'm surprised they don't have T-shirts. Bunker up.
No, it bugs me that companies prey on the weak of mind, which
Yeah.
is not you, maybe me, but not you. I'm a little bit. I'm like a JV prepper.
Yeah.
So I go out and buy cans of food
They're smart.
for like. I'm thinking. I'm always thinking
Look,
the worst.
if this hurricane thing, that Harvey hasn't gotten people to wake up and realize that we are all vulnerable. We need to be aware. We need to be prepared. You know, we live in Southern California. I mean, it's only
Jim,
a matter of
I live
time.
on a hill.
It's only a matter of
I
time.
live on a hill.
Fine. You better get your condo, your doomsday condo. You want to go in on one together?
Yeah.
We'll move 4 families in there.
So there's that's another.
Then I'll sell it online. How about that?
So Vivos, you asked me.
What's in your doomsday bunker? So you get there and what? You know, what's in it?
Carla and Victoria, I'm sorry if we're bringing you down. We'll try to bring you back up. But one last point on this. Where's our little bell? Cody, are you okay this morning?
This isn't the bell segment. This is what's bugging you segment. Go back and read your horoscope. You need to get focused. Okay. Slow. Breathe slow. Focus on one thing. Here we go.
Okay, so one last comment. So Vivos, based in Del Mar, offers a completely different shelter experience. We're talking about bomb shelters now. It sells shares in underground bunker
Come on,
complexes.
man. Who's going to buy these things?
In a
Who could afford them?
Well, let me ask you
Only
a question.
1% of America could afford a bunker,
here's
a
what-
doomsday bunker.
This is what's laughable. If the
Well, you're going to walk out. There's going to be nobody left. Nothing. You know. What are you going to do for food, water, and infrastructure?
You're listening to the Jim Piccirillo Show every Tuesday
I hate those kind
at
of
1
things.
o'clock. Jim, they're selling condos. So, well, I mean, seriously, how big is the underground you're digging? They're
how many-
120 grand for a 5-foot bomb shelter.
That's dumb.
Are you done? Coming up second half, I'm excited every time he's on the show. Bill Frank, we had him on a couple of months ago. He is, I'm not exaggerating, maybe one of the brightest men in America.
Wow.
Seriously. Wait till you hear his voice.
That's awesome.
And we're
I
gonna
think I met him before. I met him
Yeah,
at my office one time.
That's right. We're going to talk about all forms of media because you're in the media business. You, Jim Piccirillo, are in the media business. I want to get in the media business. I really do.
You're in the media business. You've been in the media business all your life. What are you talking about?
Cody, is radio considered media?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm in the media business. I didn't think about that. I guess I am.
It's not real. It's fake, but
No, we're live all across the country on hometown
it's
station.
fake radio news.
Incidentally, we have our own app. You go to the App Store and download. And this is what Carla and Victoria are listening to now. They're on our KHTS 1220 app.
Wow.
And if you want to call in, ladies, 298-5487. You know, 661 area code 298-5487. We will waive the call-in fee. Okay.
Time for quick hits, maybe?
Let's
Let's move on.
So help me out. Help me out.
Crickets.
I took my shower this morning. Sometimes I take one in the morning, one at night. I like to be clean. And
Not exactly the visual I needed this early, but go ahead.
so I dripped water on the floor, on the bathroom floor.
Oh, no.
And Mrs. Tunick, Ellen Tunick, went after me viciously.
There is nothing worse than dripping water on the bathroom floor.
Viciously.
Even though it was
So-
designed to have water dripped on it, do not drip water in the bathroom.
Yeah, and we have...
Don't throw your towel down either.
No, I don't do that. But we have... I can't remember all these surfaces that we just put in. Name something.
Granite.
Granite's on the counter. Anyway,
Tile.
it's not tile. It's...
Quartz.
It's like quartz. It's
Marble.
keep going. It's a
Money?
rock.
I would imagine yours is just layered in money, right? You know?
So the show's called The Business Life every Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Jim Piccirillo,
Gold?
the coach here. I don't. It's funny. I can't remember the surface of the floor. It's like a rock. It's very cold and very hard.
ceramic tile.
No, it's very cold and very hard. Anyway, I drip water on it, and she went berserk. Like I'm lazy. First of all, I don't shower with my glasses on.
Yeah.
And so I can't, without my glasses, literally I can't see 5 feet in front of me.
Yeah.
So I don't see the water.
Right. So what'd you do?
I apologize profusely.
There you go.
See,
Smart man.
25 years ago, I would have probably.
You're getting smarter, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry.
That's not an argument you're going to win.
No, I was so sincere. Honey, I'm so sorry. I will try to do better next time, honey. I apologize. And she bought it.
Good.
Because it was sincere. It was from the heart.
I know it was. I know you love it.
I know Brenda's listening, and if she calls Ellen, she'll tell her.
That story sounds so similar, but let's move on.
Let's move on. I have to tell you, I don't know how to tell you this, but thank God.
Are we breaking up?
No.
Okay.
Yesterday's temperature, I sat outside for the. I haven't been to the house in 2 weeks.
You're very white.
I haven't. Yes, I have not been out of the house in 2 weeks.
Wow.
How can you go out when it's 10?
I've
It
been
was
submerged.
112.
I've been submerged in my polar bear habitat, as my wife calls it,
Yeah.
in my backyard. I never come out of the water. I just lay there like a.
Oh, you go in the pool?
Oh yeah.
I need to do that.
I
have
just
a
kind of
pool.
lay around.
I don't
in
know
the
why I
pool.
don't go
It's
in my
so hot
pool.
outside. Yeah.
I don't know.
And then I've been playing a little golf, so you know.
Yeah, but then you've got knee problems. Do you have a jacuzzi?
I
Of course
do.
you do.
Yeah.
Does it help your knee?
Oh yeah, it does.
It does help your knee.
At our age, man, our friend is hot water.
Last thing it's not really bugging me, but I just have to say something that may not sound right. But first of all, what the charity of our fellow citizens for, I gave money to Harvey, gave money to the Red Cross. You speculated last week maybe that wasn't a good decision. I could have picked the Salvation Army or something else.
That wasn't me. I did not.
Was that you?
No,
Was
no,
that you?
I know a lot of people have been
Anyway.
saying, careful where your money goes. I've seen all those charts online that says, one dime out of every dollar. I don't know.
Okay, stay with
You
me.
know.
I'm trying to make a point.
Okay.
Michael Dell gave $37 million yesterday.
Jeez.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a billionaire, so
Yeah,
$37 million.
1% of one day's earnings.
Right. Yeah, but the point is,
Lunch money.
here's the point I want to make. So hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, they're going to need billions to repair the city, which
No
is
doubt.
probably going to take 5 years.
10 years.
Incidentally, Cody, if you're 25, get in the construction business and move to Houston. You'll make a fortune. I'm serious. Anything, electrical, plumbing, carpentry. You move to Houston the next 5 years, you'll be a wealthy man. Can you imagine?
You know a job that was created during this that
Can I
probably
finish
wasn't
my
around the last natural disaster?
What?
Drone flyers, drone pilots. All these drone pilots went to Houston to shoot aerials of the damn insurance companies are hiring them.
How do I get in on that?
I don't know, man. You got to get a pilot. You got to get a drone pilot.
If I'm not building bomb shelters, I might want to be a drone pilot.
There you
Is
go.
there any money in it?
Probably not as much as bomb shelters. The scare factor alone.
Well, you're just digging a hole. You just bring the tractor in. It's
Yeah.
like digging a swimming pool hole.
There's more to it than that. I'm sure it has to be concrete lined. Got to have a nice wine cellar.
Okay, so show's called The Business Life, ladies and gentlemen, every Tuesday at 1. Show's literally about nothing.
Obviously.
Can I finish my point, Cody, before you bail me out?
Wait, you yell at him for not hitting the bell, and then you yell at him for hitting the bell. What is it? Do you want him to keep us online or not?
I do.
Okay.
Can I just make the point?
Go ahead and make the
Michael
point.
Dell, $37 million. J.J. Watt raises like close to $14 million. Why aren't we raising this money to have better schools?
Good question. I don't. It's a
think about-
disaster.
We have a disaster in our school system.
Yeah, but it's not as in your face as something like Harvey, where you actually see people suffering and
Oh, it's not in our face. Kids aren't getting hired properly.
No, you're preaching to the choir here. You know me in education. I believe all of our money should go to that. But this disaster thing, again, I think it's a big wake-up call for all of us. Look around the country and the world, how the climate. Look at the fires here in the western part of the world of the United States. Look at the floods. Look at the hurricanes approaching Florida right now. I mean, I don't know if this is abnormal, but it just seems like we're having a lot of weather-related disasters, and we should be focusing on, that kind. I saw a great cartoon this morning. Let's build flood walls instead of immigration walls.
Well, first of all, that some forecasters, meteorologists, how do you pronounce the word?
Meteorologists.
Meteorologists.
I can't either.
They say that this was one in a million
Yeah.
years. Some say 1 in 100,000 years.
Sure.
So somewhere between 100,000. You may live to be 100,000
Yeah.
year old. I'm not.
Yeah.
but they're saying this is once every 100,000, once every million years. So
a seawall probably would not. They dumped 50 inches of rain in a few. There's nothing you can do about that.
are you any considered, and then we'll move on and we'll finish this whole segment, which I don't even know what we're talking about.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Is there any sense of you that you're a prepper at all? Do you care?
I do. I actually I have a
cans
generator.
of food?
I have a generator.
Oh, you do? A gas generator?
No, I have a propane generator.
You do?
You look so blank right now.
I've never heard of a propane gen.
Well,
I'm
that's because you're not the kind of prepper I am. I don't want gasoline sitting around going bad, and then when I need it, it's got muck in it.
So
what do you have around your house for your barbecue and your fire pits and your massive estate? You have a lot of propane tanks, all right? So how cool it is when you need a generator, you just pop out one of those propane tanks, and bam, you're up and running.
My people handle all that stuff.
Your 70-inch screen is running. Your cooler with your beer in it doesn't even get hot. You're ready to go.
My people do all that.
I know your people. I read about your people.
That's Jim Piccirillo. I'm the coach. The show is dedicated to Carla and Victoria. He is if you have a hip or a knee, I don't know what else he can do. Let me pronounce his name properly. K. Van Far. That's my doctor. Isn't it? I can't even pronounce his name. K. Van Far.
K. Van Far.
Over on Walnut Street.
I have no idea who he is. He's now our sponsor. He's been on here enough this morning.
I wish I could get him as a sponsor.
We have sponsors.
Victoria, can you talk to Victoria and Carla? Can you talk to the doctor, see if he'd sponsor the show, which is literally about nothing? We accomplish nothing. What do you want to talk? Oh, I'm
going to get my doctor, Dr. Wu, to come on and
Wu,
Dr. Wu.
Oh, the surgeon, the cosmetic surgeon.
No, Dr. Wu, the guy in the Steely Dan song.
Oh, that's another thing.
Sorry, I thought we had that one. I did not mean
time out. I thought we had another. I thought we had music that was involved in our show. What happened to all the music? I didn't hear anything today.
I don't know. We had a song in the beginning.
Cody, who's your boss? Do you have a boss?
Man, he is on
of
Cody
course,
today.
Yeah,
Poor Cody.
We answer ultimately to YouTube and Facebook, who decided that licensed music kind of holds things up. So,
see,
who decided that?
There you go.
The Google overlords.
We can no longer play music on our show without paying the man. You want to pay the man?
No, that's something. I'll talk to you.
Got to pay artists for their money.
He's got bosses and bosses and bosses.
So we got to get some canned elevator music that we don't have to pay for. Just something free.
No, it's fine. So let's do the Millennial Minute.
Already? Okay.
You want to wait?
No, I don't.
Let's do it now.
Your format, man, I tell you. We're all over the place.
Cody, I'm thinking about running for president. So before we start your format for 1 minute, would you vote for
in this day and age, that doesn't sound too far-fetched.
That's Jim Piccirillo on the Jim Piccirillo Show every Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
Are you going to ride down on an escalator?
I'll tell you who I would vote for is The Rock. The Rock's thinking about running for president.
Really?
Yeah. You know who The Rock?
Dwayne Johnson? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like him.
Have you seen his movie, The Ballers?
I have. And that perfectly qualifies him to be president.
So is that on Showtime?
It is.
I tried to find it last night. They said it was on Sunday night. I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Was it entertaining?
That's a great show. I mean, it's an entertainment show.
You need to call
Again,
me.
I don't know that that qualifies him to be president of the United States.
I'm not too familiar with those policies or platforms, but
obviously, you don't need too many qualifications anymore to be president.
Here's my one platform, and that is, as soon as I'm elected, I would do an executive order to have a 4-day work week.
We've seen how well those have worked out.
The 4-day work week.
Oh, no, I like that.
Oh, finally!
Hey, now we're talking.
Would I have your vote? Would I have your vote?
The 4-day work week, yes.
What do we do with, I'm assuming Friday? What about just a longer weekend?
Do you want to take Friday off or Monday off? Which day do you want to do? Let's take Monday off.
Let's make it Margarita Monday.
Yeah, that would be the executive order.
Yeah.
Yeah, Margarita Monday.
But what's the reason? Why do it?
Why do it? Did you not have yesterday off?
I like that.
I did, but I mean, I have
that
no problem
third
working
day.
5 days.
I think the argument is that it may be more productive to get your 40 hours in 4 days as opposed,
exactly.
do 4 10-hour days as
Policemen,
opposed to
firemen are doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, they got to work all the time.
Let me answer Cody's question. So, have you ever had a vacation in your life?
I've had a couple, one or two.
On the third or fourth day, it takes you 3 days to wind down from anything. That third day, you're actually rested. You actually feel rested.
But wasn't it also kind of take a day after a couple of days off to get back into things? Doesn't that kind of have like...
No, not when you're production-oriented like I am, Jim is. We care. We come to work fired up. Don't we, Jim?
Yes. I'm trying to think like a good argument for this. I don't know what the 4-day week would be other than I just think it might be more efficient.
You're
But anyway,
listening to KHTS. It's Tuesday. It's beautiful outside. Every Tuesday at 1 o'clock you can listen to our show. It's free. We don't charge you anything to listen. We should, but we don't. And then when we come back with the Millennial Minute on KHTS 1220 AM, we'll be right back.
Drugs or alcohol abuse can tear a family apart. In Santa Clarita, just like everywhere else, it's an epidemic. The Way Out Recovery is here to help. Call them now at 296-4444 or visit them on the web at thewayoutrocoveryscv.com. The Way Out offers outpatient treatment for adolescents, adults, and family members. The Way Out is compassionate, caring, professional, and confidential. You and your family don't have to suffer any longer. Call the Way Out Recovery now, 296-4444, or visit thewayoutrocoveryscv.com and make an appointment. Asking for help is the first step.
Canyon Country now has a one-stop printing shop.
Feathers, photo signs and printing.
Feathers, signs, banners, business cards, embroidery, photo restoration, picture framing, car wraps, all under one roof.
Transfer your old videos, slides, and 8mm movies to DVD.
Print custom t-shirts and jackets with your team or business logo.
Create a banner for your school.
It's all possible at Feathers.
Feathers, you've driven by them daily on Soledad across the street from the Edwards Theaters next to the coffee kiosk.
Discover Feathers, Canyon Country's one-stop printing shop.
The minute I open my door, Debbie Morris has a problem. I say, oh my gosh. A really big problem. The dog, the cat, my 3-year-old. Debbie's house is a mess. How can one family create this disaster? Debbie needs Made for You. I need help.
Professional, residential, and commercial cleaning, locally owned. You choose the schedule, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or even one-time seasonal cleaning. Call 255-2922. That's 255-2922. Made for You.
Made for You rescued me.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit
Hi, Coach.
and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges.
Hey, Jim Piccirillo, how are you doing?
Consistently listed as one of our most influential.
I do.
Online, and you need
I do. We've met in his studio. Impressive.
There is only one language spoken at Thai Dish, and it sounds something like this.
This is great.
Once people get a taste of Thai dishes, there's
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
to do any more talking. Make it full of flavor, make it delicious, only at Thai Dishes. Enjoy the atmosphere, love the food. Thai Dishes on Valencia Boulevard for free delivery, 253 Food. That's 253 FOOD.
Santa Clarita's hometown station, KHTS.
What kind of music was that? That's our new intro.
That's our WKRP in Cincinnati theme.
Yeah, big
We're
shout
bringing
out.
that back.
Yeah, and big shout out to WKSD in Huntington, West Virginia.
My
Sorry,
alma mater.
Sorry,
That's where I started.
Sorry about your Mountaineers.
That was a tough game, man. I was glued to that thing all the way to the end. I checked on the UCLA game, down 38-10. I said, I can't stick with this. I go to the Mountaineers. I watch all the way to the end. It was horribly disappointing.
I went, which was weird. I went back and forth because I love Virginia Tech, and you guys were in the game, right, the whole game, and so I watched the end of the UCLA game, which was the second biggest comeback.
Did you actually see it live, the comeback?
Yeah.
Wow, that was amazing.
Second biggest comeback in the history of
That was
college
amazing.
football. So
that's some of the best highlights of.
you're probably looking at 100,000 games.
Yeah.
Second biggest. Anyway, the show is called The Business of Life. Every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, Jim Piccirillo. I'm the coach, Coach Ron Tunick. So honored. I know that we have a fan club. We're dedicating the show today to the president and vice president of our fan club, Victoria and Carla, and they work for Dr. James K. Fan.
Man, that club organized quickly.
Yeah.
From this afternoon to already, we have a president and a vice president. That was great.
Yeah, that's when when you dedicate the show. That's what happened.
Throngs of people joining the club.
This gentleman was my partner for a number of years. We had such a great time. We took a radio station, KKZZ, Billy Frank, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great, Coach. Jim, also good to talk to you.
You too, Billy. Good to see you.
Billy and I took a station that literally was dead, and we took it from nothing to a ranked station, and we had fun. We were on every day for 3 hours, the business of life. Drive time, and Billy was my partner. So, Billy, what's your website? Because I nicknamed you Billy the Brain after about 6 months of being on the air. I looked over to him one day and I said, "My God, how smart are you?" I said, "Your brain must be the size of a basketball." I'm nicknaming you right now, Billy the Brain. That's how it started. What's the name?
Well, the website is brainstormingonline.com.
And you have archived thousands of interviews, yes?
Well, no, that's not exaggerate. I've got about 900 interviews up there, various people that I've interviewed over the years, and all aspects of life, business, entertainment, authors, things like that. Dan Rather was a regular guest. Steve Forbes was one of my faves on board. We also had more modern guys like Seth Godin, the marketing guru, Guy Kawasaki from Apple, and now has become sort of an evangelist for all technology. Very interesting people. It was a very wonderful
So I stole or took all of your interviews, called them up and said, "Hey, how'd you like to be on my show?" So I had Dan Rather on regularly. Steve Forbes was a regular. What a nice man. I mean, you talk about humble, humility. Anyway, today, Bill Frank, we're going to talk about media because when you're a little too young, but when Jim Pickerel and I grew up, although I know how old you are, you and Jim are the same age, so maybe you do remember, when we grew up, there was radio, a few television stations, and your newspaper, period.
That was it.
That was
the whole combination. Now it's exploded. Now you've got all sorts of digital formats that are out there. In addition to radio, TV, you've got cable, you've got satellite radio, you've got podcasts, you've got YouTube, even Facebook is getting into the video game, Twitter's getting into the video game. The choices are endless for consumers, and that's part of the challenge that media companies face, is that consumers with so many choices are drifting away to these other platforms and not watching traditional, let's say, nightly news. That, numbers have been on the decline there for decades now, really, at least a decade.
Yeah, the young kids don't watch. Yeah, the young kids don't watch TV.
But they get their information all day long from other sources, and I think that's a big problem too. How do they discern what is credible and what's not credible? I mean, this whole big fake news versus real news thing is big, man. A lot of people aren't able to discern what is real and what's not real.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that there aren't the filters that there were before. With nightly news, let's take Dan Rather as an example. Dan Rather had editors. People were vetting the news long before it went on the air. It had to have multiple sources in order to be proved true, and then they would put it on the air. Today, anybody can jump on to, let's say, Twitter, and they can say just about anything, and if they have a following,
you mean like the president?
Will start to spread. Like the president, he's notorious for using Twitter, but he is not the only one by any stretch of the imagination.
Absolutely
not. Celebrities and non-celebrities are using this to build their following, and what they say, whether it's true, not true, or partially true, that can spread like wildfire. So all of a sudden, you've got these competing news sources that are out there, and as you pointed out, young people are on the phone all the day. They're getting these feeds. They're getting notices about what's going on, and it's up to them to sort of decide, number one, am I interested in it? And then number two, how credible is it?
But we all are, right? I mean, what's happening is everyone can bypass the gatekeeper now. It's kind of like you said. There's no more checks and balances. You can just bypass the gatekeeper and get your message right out there, whether it's true or false. It doesn't matter. It's 22 characters.
So if you're Billy and Jim, let me say this: if you have a built-in prejudice against anything or belief, you're going to find that particular medium or media to substantiate your own belief system. I mean. So it's complicated, but let's go down this path of let's talk about podcasts first. So,
okay,
you just came back from a podcast conference, so that's fresh on your mind. So our show, and we actually have people that listen to our podcast, which is great. Thank you, Brian Mackey, and your team.
There's more like-minded people like us?
Well, our show's about nothing, and if you don't care about anything, you listen to our show.
Yeah, so it's a good vacuum to be in, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good vacuum. So. Our podcast is on every night. Thank you, Cody, for doing that. But is there an opportunity for Jim and I to become podcast stars?
Oh, absolutely there is. It's not as easy as it once was, but that's true of anything in the new media space. Right now, to be a podcast star, and how you define a star basically is anybody who gets more than 1,900 downloads of their podcast per episode. That puts you in the top 20% of all podcasters. So if you're getting 1,900 or more, you're up there. You're reaching a significant audience. And that would make you a star. Will it make you an Adam Carolla type star, who is probably one of the most popular podcasts, or a Mark Maron's WTF, where he interviewed President Obama?
I love Mark Maron.
You know, it won't put you up there, because those guys get millions of downloads now. But they've been at it for years. You know, these guys have been at it for 6-10 years. And so they've built up their following. But immediately you could jump into this game and have a small following, build that small following into a very credible following that not only would attract other like-minded listeners, but probably just as important, would attract advertisers as well. And that's, after all, the name of the game. I mean, is to make a little bit of money while doing something that you love.
You think, well, visually, I'm the handsome one of the both of us, but visually...
Obviously through the radio lens.
Visually, do you think we're also on YouTube? Every show is YouTube. Do you think we need a female part of the mix, or can two gentlemen go alone? What do you think?
Well, of course, two gentlemen can go alone. There are all sorts of pairings out there. Buddy shows is what you call them, and I'm not meant in any sort of pejorative way. It's just, you know, two guys sitting around talking about world events, or two guys talking about sports, or two guys talking about anything as a type of a buddy show. And there are numbers of them out there. One of my favorites is Media Unplugged, where two guys just sit down and all they do is talk about the media and what's going on in the media today, and so forth. So yes, it can be done. You don't need a female co-host in the mix unless you want a female co-host in the mix. You know, somebody who can go toe-to-toe with you and would draw in sort of more the female listening audience as
Our
well.
wives can go to toe. Our wives can go toe-to-toe with
Anybody
us.
wants to listen to that show.
Yeah, that would be an interesting
It won't
show.
be a buddy show anymore.
So let's move on. Let's take podcasts for another minute. So what do Jim and I need to do to promote our podcast? We do have a small audience.
It's like now a self-help show for us.
This is
Well,
less
Billy was glad
this is less expensive than going to a psychiatrist.
It is.
I'm glad that it's therapeutic, and I think that that's cool. Well, the easiest thing that you can do right off the bat is just to make sure that your show is appearing properly in iTunes, because between 60 and 80% of all podcast listening is done through the Apple ecosystem. So you want to check and make sure that you're making the maximum use of your headline in iTunes, the maximum use of your about the host area there, so that people who are searching for a podcast will run across you. So it doesn't do you any good to say The Business of Life, Coach Ron Tunick and Jim Piccirillo, because people don't know who you are. You've got to go Business of Life, a funny take on, you know, current events, and then under the name area, you know, Coach Ron Tunick, 20 years in radio, Jim Piccirillo, an equal amount of years
20 minutes in radio.
general.
That hurts my
20 minutes
feelings.
radio.
Are you writing all this down?
That hurts
Coach?
my feelings.
I think a lot of this would depend on if we kind of wrote this down and actually got into implementing it, don't you?
He sent me a whole brief on it. He sent me a whole. I have a whole. Do you want me to send it to you?
No.
Why? You don't care.
No.
But that really hurt my feelings when you said nobody knows about us. That's not true. Carla and Victoria.
You wanted an honest take. He gave you
Carla.
one.
He doesn't know that Carla and Victoria
Yeah.
listen to our show,
Yeah.
and Brian Mackey
Yeah.
listens to our show.
This is all true. But the reason that it's important, Coach, is because of what's coming next.
Oh
Really
my
what you
God!
have
What's coming next, Bill?
You have to be prepared for Alexa and Siri and Cortina. These are all of the home speakers that you talk to, and it goes out and finds things. You've seen the commercials. Alexa, which is an Amazon product. Alexa, go buy dog food this week. Or more importantly, Alexa, turn into KTHO. I want to hear the coach's show. And so
KHTS,
Alexa goes out.
KHTS, 1220 a.m.
Sorry
KHTS.
about that.
That's all right.
I was on KTHO up in Lake Tahoe earlier this week. I apologize.
Obviously,
all
our
right.
marketing's not
Nonetheless,
working that well.
you get the idea that you've got to be there when somebody speaks into that speaker and says, find the coach's show or find KHTS or, whatever it is they're looking for. That's the next evolution. It's getting away from the keyboard and moving more and more towards spoken commands to help you find things. And that's the next generation. Just to give you some perspective on that, it took podcasting 12 years to get into 20% of the U.S. households. Alexa did the same thing in just 1 year.
Yeah,
That's
but if
how
you have
fast it's
hundreds of
taking off.
millions to spend on advertising, the public will buy anything. Anything.
The product was marketed. It was marketed well priced. So.
I still don't own one.
I have one.
You do?
Oh yeah.
Well, you have everything electronic.
But I got to tell you, it's like anything. I find it marginally useful.
Marginally?
At first I used it quite a bit. It's a novelty thing. Hey, play John Coltrane, and then Coltrane coming out like, wow, that's amazing. As the days were on, I'm still a traditional old-fashioned guy. I just look it up myself, or figure out a way. to do
So it's a toy for rich people?
I don't know. I think Bill's correct here. It is a very useful, and it is the way everything is going. Look at your car, and you get in your car now. It's all voice commands. Everything's voice commands.
Not mine. I still have to drive it. There's no voice command.
Give that time too, Coach.
Huh?
Give that time. Autonomous cars are coming as well.
No kid. His name is Bill Frank, and he is my pal, and I just love our relationship. I consider you the smartest human being I know. Once again, your website is?
brainstormingonline.com.
brainstormingonline.com. There's 900 really great interviews on there. I'm not kidding you. So let's move on. We're talking about media today on the show called The Business Life, and Jim Piccirillo and the coach. Maybe our show, after you hurt my feelings and you said nobody knows about the coach and Jim Piccirillo, maybe we need to have something more exciting on our show. Bill, what do you think?
Well, it depends on what you're going for. The beautiful thing about podcasts is that you can drill down and find your audience. And most podcasters have multiple shows. So you and Jim might have a show that just, focuses on current events. But you also might do a different podcast that focuses on technology, and a third podcast that focuses on cars or family relations.
Cars. That's a cheap plug for next week's show. Cars. We're going to be talking about cars, fancy car. I call them fancy cars. I don't know words to use. What do you call them? Elite cars.
Vintage collectible
cars. So, yes, good point. Maybe we need to change our show. And we did a thing on bomb shelters today. Maybe if we did a whole podcast on bomb shelters, would anybody listen to that? Preppers.
That'd be a good 10 minutes.
Huh?
That'd be 10 minutes.
You've got people out there that are, these survivalists that do follow that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Preppers, and preppers are a big, big audience for some.
Are you a survivalist at all? I mean, do you have any canned foods in the? No.
No, if the big one comes, I'll be one of the first to go. I just face it. That's just the reality that I'm in.
Want to buy a share in a doomsday condo with Coach and I?
The feeling is
we're getting ours in Baja.
The big one comes.
Yeah, there's a company building Bombshare condominiums. All right, we're talking about media. So we covered podcasts. What's the next form of media that we talked about? Series and what's the other one? Cantina? What's her name?
Cortina, Siri, and Alexa are the three biggies right now.
Okay.
Yeah. But what's coming next in
next?
terms of media? Well, I mean, right now, everybody is a broadcaster. So you have to be thinking
Facebook
video
Live.
if you're thinking about media.
Facebook
Live stole the market. There were two competitors in that space. There was Periscope and there was Meerkat. And Facebook Live came in and crushed them like ants. It absolutely drove Meerkat out of business. And Periscope is still around because Periscope is a Twitter product or a Twitter company. So it's still around, but it is not anywhere near what it once was. Facebook Live just dominates. So if you've got a message, boy, that's the way to get the message out in video form is on Facebook Live.
I'm going to do next week, I'm going to do a Facebook Live because we're talking about cars, collectibles, all kind. I don't know anything about cars. I'm interested in listening to the show myself. I don't know anything about cars. It's embarrassing. But I'm going to be talking about my new book, the Lucky 12, the Lucky12.com book, which is now getting tremendous reviews and stuff. We're going to take a break here in a minute. But, Billy, when we come back, I'm so confused about one form of media that the president uses, according to Jim Piccirillo, tweeting. He's a tweeter. I've never seen any of his tweets. Probably won't go. I don't care to see them. But I want to find out, Twitter, what is Twitter about? I mean, is the average person, do you go on and read people's tweets, Bill, Frank?
I tweet every day. I tweet professionally for the company that I work for, and I get my news feed from Twitter for current events. So, yeah, I'm a user, but I'm in the 300 million people that use Twitter, which is dwarfed in comparison to the 2 billion people that use Facebook. So Twitter has its place, mostly in the media, and I use it on a regular basis.
All right, we're going to come right back. When we come back, we're going to borrow a minute of your time because we do our Millennial Minute every week, and Jim and I are interested to hear what our Cody, our producer, who's 25 years old, what he's thinking about. I'm sure you're curious, too. The show's called The Business Life. Jim Piccirillo and the coach will be right back. Don't go anywhere. The next segment will be more entertaining than the last, I promise you.
There's a classic diner in town that combines old-fashioned dining with a
21st century menu. They call it trendy nostalgia. They call it Happy's Deli. Happy's Deli is a classic diner. Homemade jams.
Yeah, I know. It does. It goes quickly. But, when you put in the commercial stop sets and everything else, there's only about 39 minutes of actual show that you have, which is pretty par for the course. Oh, listen, I've got a big echo.
The minute I open my door, Debbie Morris has a problem.
Okay.
I say, oh my gosh, a really big problem. The dog, the cat, my 3-year-old. Debbie's house is a mess. How can one family create this disaster? Debbie needs made for you.
A wine show would be good, although hard to sustain that. I mean, over time. Here are the things. I met a podcaster at this thing, 2 guys out of Chicago that do a beer show. Again, I think that's hard to sustain. The top podcast topics are financial and sports. That's according to Libsyn, the largest podcast host in the world. So if you want to get in the mainstream, do something about finances or do something about sports.
Businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back to the show. It's called The Business Life. Maybe we need another name, but I've been using this name now for almost 20 years. Jim Piccirillo and I are so honored. We're all over the country on hometownstation.com. We have listeners from Oregon to New Hampshire, wherever New Hampshire is, and Delaware. We have a listener in where's Delaware? Is that a state or a city?
It's a state.
State? Delaware?
Very small state.
We have something called the Millennial Minute every week. We're excited to hear what Cody has to say. He's 25 years old. Cody, it's your minute. Do not take any more than 1 minute. Go!
Well, I'm not. All right. I guess today was my mind kind of bothering me. I realized over the weekend that I don't think I know one person my age who actually bothers to brew their coffee in the morning. I think everyone I know goes to Starbucks, they'll go to McDonald's, they'll go Jack in the Box. I don't know one person under 30 who wakes up in the morning and
because you're probably a crafts person. I mean, I like that. My middle daughter Tracy, when she comes, she's from San Francisco. She comes down, brings her net or whatever it's called, brews her own coffee. So I have a lot of respect for craftspeople. Why do you do it? I'm curious. At 25.
Well, I must say that I use a Keurig. I'm not exactly some coffee aficionado, and it's but
you mean make your own coffee? You don't mean brew it. You just throw the pot in and.
Well, that. But even I mean,
you're called Keurig brewing your own coffee.
I never said I brewed my own. I said most people I know don't, myself included.
So what? Time out. I was just starting to compliment you. Now I'm pulling that compliment. So you're sticking the little Keurig cup in there.
I'm one of them. Yeah, but I'm saying it's most people. It's even worse. They'll just spend $1.50, $1.60 at Starbucks and $10 a week on coffee.
Okay, so I used to have a Keurig in my office, and I stopped using it, and then it didn't work anymore. So that's your coffee in the morning, the Keurig?
Yeah, typically. Yeah.
Does it really taste like coffee?
Yeah, I mean,
mine never tastes like coffee.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm pretty sure.
Because the pods sit on the shelves for like 8 months before you get them. So
That is one thing.
That's
Make
a
sure the
good
pods are
point.
fresh.
That's
Yeah.
a good point.
Because also they sell a little basket you fill with coffee.
I wish they were a sponsor, but I tell you, what's the best coffee is at McDonald's. I drink Starbucks. I love Starbucks. I love all the people there, but that Starbucks has really good coffee. McDonald's. Have you ever tried it?
Yeah, like I said,
Even my wife, I bought her a McDonald's coffee the other morning. I went down to McDonald's, and she thanked me profusely. All right, was that your whole thing?
That's all I got.
Wow, that's tremendous.
That's awesome.
Awesome. At least he's an honest young man. All right, show's called The Business of Life every Tuesday at 1. Hopefully you'll tune in like other few thousand people do. All right, the station's called KHTS 1220. We're so honored to have it as our flagship station. We're heard all over the country. He is one of the smartest people I've ever met. He's a dear friend. I call him up about every week just to hear what he has to say. So today we're talking about media. We left off with Twitter. Does Twitter going to make it against Facebook, Billy?
Oh, now that's a bigger question. Is Twitter going to make it? Period. And the jury's still out. Twitter, has gone through some upheavals. It went to professional management after its owner Jack Dorsey left. Now Jack Dorsey is back running the company. The thing of it is, it's been stuck in the sand. It's been at about 300 million users before Jack Dorsey left, and then after he's come back, and it really has not been able to attract advertisers in order to keep the life's blood, the money, flowing into Twitter. So it's very much up in the air in the long term whether Twitter will be around. It does make an attractive acquisition for some companies. Some people have thought maybe Google should buy Twitter. That would be natural because Google has very little presence in the social media space. Buying Twitter would automatically give them an instant 300 million users, and it would give Twitter the credibility and, more importantly, the money to really expand. Apple's also been thrown in that mix. Apple could go in and buy Twitter with the money that it finds in the couch between the cushions. It's such a big company and has so much money. But the reality is that neither one of those two companies is jumping up to buy it. So in the meantime, guys like me who are in the news and working in the media use it all the time. If I want to get a hold of the beat writer for my local newspaper, the only way that I can get in touch with her is by Twitter. Now, I shouldn't say it's the only way. I can get to her by email. I could leave her a voicemail, but it might be days before I get a call back. However, if I tweet her, I usually get an answer within minutes, sometime no more than an hour before I get a response from her. That's because she's living on Twitter. I'm living on Twitter. She sees it. We respond and it goes back and forth. It's very instantaneous. Mostly news people use it. That would be the majority. Or people who are interested in the news. So if you're tracking Hurricane Irma, for example, you want to know, what the National Weather Service is saying about it. You want to be tied into Twitter because they're tweeting out the new position, the new strength of the hurricane as it's moving along. And that way you can keep up to date with it. And it just pushes that information straight to your phone or your mobile device, and there it is for you to get. And you weed through it. If you want to know what Hurricane Irma, you pay attention to it. If you don't, you move on to the next thing in your Twitter feed. It's just the way that the medium is used.
It's an amazing social phenomenon. It really is. The instantaneous of it all.
It is, and it's the way most people get their news.
Who owns Twitter? Who owns Twitter?
Public company. It is owned by multiple people, but it's a public company just like Apple or IBM or General Motors or anything else.
You're talking about Facebook earlier too. I'm in the media business. We do live event shows for large corporations, and Facebook Live is now in the mix with everything we do. Even though we live stream it, we do a bunch of different streams. Facebook Live is always one of the mediums we use. And you look at a guy like Dan Rather, who'd pretty much been out of the news business for a while, the legit news business. He's had a huge comeback with his News and Guts bit on Facebook. That's kind of launched him back into the public eye.
Well, it did. It relaunched him. He was on AXS, the network that is owned by Carlos Slim out of Mexico, and he was doing pieces on that for a long time. But if your cable company or your satellite company doesn't pick up AXS,
right,
then you don't get to hear him. But going to Facebook, he immediately moved from do the households get my feed from AXS to reaching 2 billion people potentially with Facebook. And with his name recognition, the years that he sat at the anchor desk at CBS, I mean, he has instant news. He has instant name
Credibility,
recognition and credibility that goes along with that.
Yeah, you have credibility too, Billy. We got to say goodbye. We'll have you on next month. We haven't. We just touched the surface. I mean, I'm fascinated with hearing what you have to talk about. I hope our listeners do. We just scratched the surface on media, and you know, we're a public that wants instant gratification, instant access, instant everything. So thank you for coming on. We'll see you next month, Bill Frank. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you. Brainstorming with Billy Frank. Just put in brainstorming. Next week's show, I don't know if you care about cars. I do. I love my car. Actually, I have a name for my car, which I won't reveal to anybody. I've named all my cars through the years. I'm very close to my car, and I love my car, actually.
Old Sal?
No, it's not Old Sal. I will not reveal the
Beautiful
name.
Betsy?
If you give me a big check, I might reveal it. But next week we're going to talk about cars and my new book called The Lucky 12. If you go to lucky12.com.
I read that book.
And what
Last
a nice
weekend.
compliment. What a nice
awesome.
compliment.
Good stuff in there.
I saved that. I showed it to my wife, and she about gagged. She gagged.
That someone read the book, or that someone wrote you a nice note?
That somebody. No, she likes my books, but the fact that you sent such a nice review of it was very appreciated, because you don't have to do that, and you did it. All right, see you next week on The Business Life. Bill, thank you. Jim Piccirillo and the coach. See you next week.